$225,000. That is the fine a state government imposed on one of the largest hotel companies in the world, and it was not for charging a fee. It was for refusing to show it. In 2023, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office penalized Marriott $225,000 for missing the deadline to do one simple thing it had already agreed to do 2 years earlier: put its mandatory resort fees in the price you see when you search for a room. Step back, and the scale is bigger than one chain. The Federal Trade Commission's own economists studied this. In a January 2017 analysis, they reported that American travelers paid an estimated $2 billion in hotel resort fees in a single year, 2015, and that the number was 35% higher than the year before. These are per room, per night charges, often for a pool, a gym, a newspaper, or bottled water. The FTC's economists concluded that splitting the fee out from the room rate without showing the total first likely harms consumers. The agency would spend the next several years turning that conclusion into a rule. Today we are going through 6 hotel companies whose documented record on mandatory resort and destination fees gives you specific reasons to read the total price before you book, not the headline rate. No brand on this list paid us. This is purely our research. Welcome to the hidden boarding pass. One thing before the list: a resort fee, a destination fee, an urban fee, and an amenity fee are the same kind of charge wearing different names. A mandatory per-night cost that is not optional and is often disclosed late in booking. The practice has a name. Regulators call it drip pricing, where the advertised rate is real but incomplete, and the rest of the price drips out screen by screen until you reach checkout or the front desk. The Federal Trade Commission first warned the hotel industry about it back in November 2012, telling companies that the pricing could misrepresent the true price of a room. Every company on this list either settled a government action over the practice or is being sued over it. None of them is accused of a crime. The issue is simpler and more common than that. It is whether the price you were shown was the price you actually paid. 6 is Hyatt. This is the entry most travelers will not expect, because Hyatt sits in the part of the market people choose specifically to avoid surprises. On December 30th, 2025, the Texas Attorney General announced a $1.25 million settlement with Hyatt Corporation. The state had sued Hyatt in 2023, alleging it violated the Texas Deceptive Trade Practices Act by charging mandatory unavoidable fees on top of the daily room rate, resort fees, destination fees, and amenity fees that were only disclosed later in the booking process. The settlement requires Hyatt to disclose any added fees so travelers can actually compare prices. Hyatt's individual properties rank well on guest satisfaction, and the settlement is about pricing disclosure, not about the quality of the rooms. Both things are true at once. For the traveler who books Hyatt precisely because it feels like the trustworthy, no games choice, the December 2025 settlement is the part of the brand's record that did not appear in the marketing. 5 is Omni Hotels and Resorts. Omni belongs to the same upscale segment as Hyatt, the kind of property people book to escape the budget tier surprises. It is named by the Texas Attorney General as one of the hotel companies that agreed to disclose all fees after his office's enforcement campaign, alongside Marriott, Choice Hotels, Hilton, and the booking platform Booking.com. That is the documented fact, and it is the only claim made here about Omni. There is no separate penalty figure to report. The Texas Attorney General's office described those agreements as a way to ensure that online hotel reservation practices are transparent and that companies disclose all fees to consumers. Omni was named in that group. What the entry shows is that the practice was never confined to one company or one price tier. It was a default across the industry, which is exactly why a federal rule eventually became necessary rather than chain-by-chain lawsuits, one state at a time. For the guest who chose an upscale name specifically to avoid nickel and dime charges, the destination fee proves that the price tier of the hotel did not decide the behavior. The disclosure policy did. 4 is Choice Hotels International, the parent of Comfort Inn, Quality Inn, Cambria, and others. On September 21, 2023, a group of state attorneys general with Pennsylvania, Colorado, Oregon, Nebraska, and Nevada among them announced a settlement with Choice over hidden resort fees. The allegation was drip pricing. The advertised room rate did not disclose all of the unavoidable fees, including the resort fee, until the last page of the online booking or until check-in. Under the settlement, Choice committed to disclose all mandatory fees, including resort fees, on the first page of its booking website as part of the total room rate, with the changes in place by the end of 2023. The detail that matters is where this sits in the market. Choice is a value brand. Its customers are often the most price-sensitive travelers there are, the ones comparing a $49 room against a $59 room and choosing on that $10 gap. A mandatory fee that does not show up until the final screen does the most damage to exactly that shopper, because the comparison they made was never real. For the family booking a Comfort Inn to keep a road trip on budget, the first page total is the number that the settlement was designed to put back in front of them. You have heard the 3 entries that show how wide this practice ran, from upscale chains to value brands. The next 3 are the biggest names in the lineup, and the records get more specific with each one. Subscribe to the Hidden Boarding Pass and hit the notification bell. Let us finish this. 3 is Hilton. In July 2019, the Nebraska Attorney General sued Hilton, alleging that since at least 2012, the company had advertised one rate and then charged mandatory resort fees, daily mandatory charges, or urban destination fees on top of it, in violation of Nebraska's Consumer Protection Act and its Uniform Deceptive Trade Practices Act. The lawsuit put a number on the scale of it. At least 78 Hilton properties in the United States were charging these fees, ranging from $15 to as much as $45 per room per night. The complaint described disclosures that were hidden in obscure areas, confusingly worded, or printed smaller than the advertised rate. Hilton has since been among the companies that committed to upfront disclosure, and that progress is real. The record is the 7-year span the lawsuit documented, and the 78 properties it counted. For the business traveler who books a downtown Hilton for a Tuesday meeting and finds an urban destination fee waiting at checkout, the lawsuit named the exact charge on the exact kind of property years before the rule caught up to it. 2 is Marriott, the largest hotel company in the world, and the chain from the open of this video. In November 2021, Marriott settled with the Pennsylvania Attorney General and agreed to prominently disclose the total price, including all mandatory fees, and to sort price-ranked search results by that total. It was the first major hotel company to formally make that commitment. The state had alleged the same drip pricing as the others. Then came the part that earns Marriott this position on the list. It missed the deadline. After extensions into early 2023, Marriott failed to comply by February 15, 2023, and Pennsylvania fined it $225,000, with a court order setting a final compliance date of May 15th. The next day, on May 16, 2023, the Texas Attorney General announced a separate settlement requiring Marriott to show the total price as its most prominently displayed price. So Marriott is not only a company that charged the fees, it is the one company in this group that agreed to fix the disclosure, then had to be fined by a state to actually do it. Regular viewers will also recognize Marriott from our hotels episode, where the same company settled a $52 million action with the Federal Trade Commission and 49 states over a data breach that exposed roughly 500 million guest records. For the Bonvoy member who books on autopilot and assumes the displayed rate is the rate, that 2-year gap between the promise and the compliance is the part of the record worth remembering. One is MGM Resorts International, and this entry is the clearest illustration of the title of this video. Around February 2021, the nonprofit advocacy group Travelers United sued MGM Resorts under the District of Columbia Consumer Protection Procedures Act, alleging deceptive drip pricing on its resort fees. MGM's mandatory resort fees run from $15 to $45 per day across its U.S. properties, and at its higher-end Las Vegas hotels, the figure has been reported around $59 a night. The fee is charged at properties up and down the Strip, and on a multi-night stay, it can add more than $100 to a bill that never showed it in the advertised rate. Here is the allegation that puts MGM at the top of this list. Travelers United claimed that many of the amenities a resort fee supposedly pays for were reduced or eliminated during the COVID-19 pandemic, and that MGM never lowered the fee to match. The pool hours shrank, the gym closed, the services thinned, and the charge stayed the same. The suit also pointed out that the fee was applied even to complimentary rooms the hotel had given away for free. MGM declined to comment on the lawsuit. A resort fee is sold as the price of the amenities. When the amenities are cut and the fee does not move, the fee is no longer paying for the amenities. It is just the price of staying there relabeled. That is what charging you for nothing looks like in a court filing. 3 checks before you book any hotel. The first is the total, not the nightly rate. As of May 12, 2025, the Federal Trade Commission's rule on unfair or deceptive fees requires short-term lodging listings in the United States to show the all-in total, including mandatory fees, more prominently than the base rate. The rule does not ban the fee and does not cap it. It bans hiding it. The same agency that estimated travelers were paying $2 billion a year in these charges is now the agency requiring the total to be shown first. So if a site still buries the resort fee until checkout, that is now the exception. And it is worth noticing which sites make you dig. The second check is the line item itself. Resort fee, destination fee, urban fee, amenity fee. These are the same mandatory charge under different names. Read what it claims to cover, then ask whether you will use any of it. A pool and a fitness center you walk past every day are not a discount. They are a charge you did not opt into. The third check is total against total. A room advertised at $129 with a $45 nightly resort fee costs more than a room at $159 with no fee. And the only way to see that is to add the fee back before you compare. The headline rate is built to win that comparison. The total price is built to be accurate. None of this record is hidden. The Marriott fine is in a Pennsylvania Attorney General release. The Hyatt settlement is in a Texas Attorney General release. The Hilton lawsuit counted 78 properties. The MGM allegation is in a complaint filed in Washington. The $2 billion in resort fees is in the FTC's own economic analysis. The fee was always going to be on the bill. The only question was whether you would see it before you agreed to pay it. Share this video with someone who books hotels by the nightly rate and has never added the resort fee back before comparing. If the hidden boarding pass has been valuable to you, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. And remember, the truth is not always on the boarding pass.